Hello, everyone. This is the Paint the Town Red podcast, and I am your host, Chance Bowen. Today, we have a very special guest, Only Fauci. You guys all know her. She's been on the show before. She's one of the first guests ever on the show. Has an Instagram page that is absolutely exploding. So we wanted to get her on. We wanted to get her on the show during her generational run that she's on. Kind of talk about a few things. We know we were talking earlier, and it's like we always message each other, and we're always kind of really nitpicking our own crowd, because it's important that we audit our own crowd. So this episode is actually going to be titled America First Audit. Okay. And we're going to just kind of go through some of the things that we find a little annoying about our own people. We don't always do this. We actually don't focus on this at all, really, but it's good to focus on it just a little bit so our own crowd doesn't get too, cringy or anything like that.
We have been seeing this more and more recently, and I think the best way to put it is that we have some neocons in America First clothing. They say our line, they say America First, they hashtag America First. They might even have a pin or a hat. They parrot some of our sentiment. They use our ideas. They're trying to use the motion of the America First movement to benefit their own establishment Republican careers. They want a job in the Trump cabinet. I believe many of them do, because they say America first, but when you ask them about Israel funding specifically, suddenly it just becomes about general anti-intervention. They basically say, hey man, it's not just Israel, I'm against my money going everywhere. And I feel like everyone agrees with that sentiment, but when you specifically push some of these people on the Israel question, they won't say it. It's like asking an Indian to curse Vinshu online or whatever. They won't do it. Another thing I've noticed, so they never attack Israel directly. They always focus on anti-intervention rhetoric over specific anti-Israel rhetoric. Another thing I noticed they do is now, especially with Nick going mainstream, they're now nitpicking, taking out of context, and counter signaling Nick Fuentes. And I find that interesting because they haven't spoken on him in months, if ever before. But now with the Tucker interview and him kind of just emerging into the mainstream, suddenly they're deciding to counter signal him on their Instagram stories and misrepresent his claims, take him out of context. And it's classic. It's exactly what Ben Shapiro did on his 40-minute Nick clip highlight show the other day. And we're not falling for it. We see what you're doing. You're very visible to us. We recognize what's going on. And those two things combined, dodging the Israel question as well as counter signaling Nick, they keep their platforms like 80 to 90% squeaky clean. They avoid the hot button topics. They keep it very general. They keep it very neocon, for lack of a better term. And I believe, again, this is because they're doing this in hopes of scoring establishment conservative ladder climbing opportunities, whether that be in media, whether that be within a political organization, lobbying organizations, or on somebody's campaign team. I believe they're trying to do this to keep themselves sanitized and keep themselves marketable. But the whole reason why people love America First is because America First is conservatism without that sanitization for the palate of the liberal establishment. So the people who are sort of America First in name only are still behaving like the GOP while using our talking points. I mean, Chance, if you would like to cut in and kind of explain maybe some of the things you've seen, I do have two examples I would like to reflect on.
Yeah, so real quick, I would like to just talk about, all of the major political books that you read when you major in political science in colleges, they all talk about this moral blanket that every politician uses to blanket all of their ideas with this morality, right? And the America First movement is kind of the first big movement that's becoming incredibly popular for this reason that is not blanketed in this morality cloak. It's being open about saying, hey, we're Christian, we're pro-white, and we're America first, and we're against foreign influence. And we don't need to make you feel good or to make sure that it's palatable to the layman. We're not trying to do that. And there's actually a lot of respect I have for America First and Nick Fuentes types folks for going out on a limb and being realistic, being a real nigga, to put it quite simply. We're seeing that there are people though that are they have no backbone. They're only followers, and they were the teachers' pets, right? They're the ones who worked in the Republican office, and they're total teachers' pets, right? And then what they're doing is now they're seeing, oh, Nick Fuentes is popular. Uh-oh, no, they were right. So now they're trying to pick up a few of his talking points. But don't be fooled by these people. They are not America First. They are cowards. They are swine, and they are the poison of our group. And we need to weed them out by exposing them and putting all their dirty laundry online.
Yes, yes, we do, because it's been difficult, you see people who claim to be Christian nationalists, and you try to have a conversation with them about aid to Israel, specifically military aid, weaponry. And instead of having that hard discussion about, using history, historical context of Israel's history, the leadership, the intel we've received, how it has been faulty many times, the controversy of maintaining a presence in a region that is more of a liability than a benefit. If you want to talk about those things, there are some people who, I'm a Christian nationalist, America first. You ask them and they say, whoa, whoa, hey, I just don't think it's about one country, it's about all of them. I don't really think it's just Israel, and I don't want to make it just Israel, guys. And they retreat into this broader, safer, more sanitized version of anti-intervention. And we just need to put America first. Like, say it. Say something about Israel so I know you're real, because if you don't, I'm going to assume that you're basically omitting and withholding certain opinions or topics for your own self-interest, because I don't see any other reason for you to bite your tongue.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you want the approval of the liberal establishment GOP and are hoping to climb the ladder and get somewhere within that movement,
Mhm.
which I can understand to some degree, but that should be made clear to your audience, in my opinion. If you're someone who's trying to infiltrate, you should make that clear. You shouldn't just go around saying America first, obviously using the talking point, the sentiment for your own boost. It's not cool.
Well, I think it goes to like people that are playing politics versus people who are not playing politics and they're actually giving their true opinions. Those are two
Yeah,
big groups of people. And there's people in the America First movement that are playing politics, and there's people in the neocon area they actually believe that stuff, right? And so it's hard for sometimes it can be hard to dissect between those 2 groups, but for me, I sense it right away. I can tell kinda well, I think I can tell, maybe I'm being fooled by some people, of what their actual beliefs are and if they're playing politics in some way, right?
yeah.
And there's been a movement, I know within all of pretty much all of the recent history in politics, they say, "Hey, you may be a Christian and you may believe that being gay is a sin, but you don't wanna say it, because if you say it, you're going to be alienating all of the gays that can potentially be Republican." And I've been adamantly against that. I've said, no, we need to be based and we need to say, no, I'm against gays. I don't think gays should be a part of the Republican Party. If I'm going to be a part of the Republican Party, then I don't want gays to be a part of the Republican Party. It's a sin. If you're gay, I don't hate you. I'm a Christian. I want you to realize it's a sin, and we can have a conversation and you can move from that. I still agree with that. We should be somewhat acceptable of these people, of course, but we have to be very careful when it comes to being acceptable of them and being like, oh no, I'm okay with yeah, be gay, gay marriage, whatever the gays want. Let's give it to them. No, we cannot do that. And it's been a slippery slope. And that's kind of the history of politics within the last 10 years. I mean, you got Obama and Hillary Clinton who were against illegal immigration, and they were against gay marriage. And now today we have Trump, who's a supposed Republican, who talks about women should have the right for abortion, and he's for gay marriage. I mean,
And he's
so the
for H-1B
he's
importations of labor. No, and I understand that for sure, because it's basically, are you willing to say the wrong speak? is really where I'm kind of seeing the dividing line. Because are you willing to put your face and your name on the line to say what you truly believe is right and say it in a way that is going to make people stop and think? Because that's what political media really needs to be. It needs to grab attention. And this was a big criticism when I was on the left. They'd say, "Oh, politics doesn't belong in entertainment." They've always been intertwined. This isn't something you can, like, you can't rip them apart. You can't separate them in this ideal land. Like, especially in this media environment, you're not going to separate entertainment and politics. So it's like, you need to say these things. You need to stand firm on your beliefs. And you need to do it in a way that's relatable, entertaining, not just one note, cardboard box, monotone lecture about why communism sucks. Like when I was part of Turning Point, that was one of my biggest things that I would just roll my eyes at. It's like everyone was so stale, everyone was so
Oh,
canned, everyone was so media trained, and it's just tiring. Like I don't want to stand outside in the Florida heat holding a sign that says communism sucks. Here's a study from a journal that says it. It's like, we know. We're so far past that, and that isn't convincing anybody.
mm,
And I think this is a problem that, we also have around on our side as well. It's like you need to be personable. You cannot be stale. You can't be a cardboard box. You can't come on here and just appeal to authority your entire way through a video and expect anyone to care.
yeah,
That's not how it works anymore. And like I've noticed this especially from more of the neocon crowd and especially from like the neocon in America First clothing. You know, some of these people, they just get on and it really does feel like a script. A lot of creators use scripts to help them stay on track. We have a little thing written up here to help us stay on track,
yeah.
but we're not sitting here reading the script. And that's what it feels like a lot of them do, which is
Okay.
another easy way to spot them, in my opinion, because they're not original, they're not expressive, they're not letting the ideas flow. And you can tell when you see it,
Yeah. They go to their grandma and they're like, "What do I say today?" No. We do have some notes written here. I'll just kind of read off what we're going to be kind of talking about. We already kind of covered one of the things. So we're going to be covering neocons that are, and Fauci just put it wonderfully. You said neocons in America First clothing. I think that's a great way of putting it because that's who they are. I mean, they just a second ago they were talking about how Nick Fuentes and all this stuff. They were going, yeah, I can't wait till we take over Gaza. Trump's really showing Netanyahu. They're like, that's silly. And then you got after that, we were going to talk a little bit about e-girls because we know it's a problem. Everyone knows it. It's hard to talk about because I know it's fun, especially for a lot of my guys that are following me. I get it. You get on Instagram, you see a good looking girl and she's touting the same talking points as all of us, right? I get that. And then we're going to talk about stuck up people within our movement. Those people that get like they just become mainstream or they get 100,000 followers on Instagram and they think they are the next Nick Fuentes, right? They think that they are famous, literally.
so
And
corny.
it's just, yeah, it's really corny. It's really silly and it's just really sad. We don't want to see that. That is not an America First movement. America First is we all, come from various different backgrounds, but we are white people who do good through Christianity and everything else. Part of doing good is not being a stuck up, pretentious, I just got out of Catholic school. I mean, that's just, don't be like that, please. And I said that as a rage bait to all my Catholic followers. I know there's a lot out there. And then we'll end it up with the pro-white versus kind of the Israel last type group. So there's people who are very like they're pro-white, but they're like racist, right? They like hate other races, and they are like all about the racial makeup of this nation. And then there's the group of people that are kind of like, yes, they are pro-white, but their first priority, or at least not even their first priority, but what's been kind of on their mind more so recently is kind of the Israel lobby, right? They want to get the Israel lobby out of here, and they kind of talk about that more. So one talks more about race, one talks more about Israel, but they're both pro-white and they're both anti-Israel, 100%. So they're kind of at odds at times. They really police each other quite a bit, and they're like, "You're not racist enough." Oh well, you're too racist. It's kind of their arguments that they have with each other. So we'll kind of go through all these. We already talked a lot about the neocons. Is there anything else you want to finish up with the neocons?
There was, yeah. There was just another example of something I have seen lately is that some figures that do promote this like general anti-intervention and this veneer of America first, some of them are actively working with and collaborating with Israeli influencers who went on that trip that we all know about. Remember the trip to Israel? There are people within our movement working with and collaborating with individuals who were on that trip and have suddenly blown up out of nowhere.
Mhm.
And I just find that very interesting because if you know, you know. But if you don't, you wouldn't really raise an eyebrow because the content they're making will appeal to you. But unless you know who the players are, what connections they have even directly to the White House, you probably would just think, "Oh yeah, this is some interesting content. I'll follow, I'll repost it." But there's a lot going on that I don't think people fully realize within our movement, how there has been an infiltration in many ways. And what disappoints me is that they think we won't notice. They think we can't put these pieces together. Oh, I've noticed that your rhetoric is always this sort of way. It feels like you're trying to sanitize and self censor. Oh, I noticed you're working with this person who was literally on the Israeli influencer infographic that Marjorie Taylor Greene had posted. That's weird. Oh, and you also never talk about Israel, and now you're suddenly counter signaling Nick Fuentes all at the same time.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very curious. I just want them to know that you're on our radar. We see you. We see what you're doing. Again, as I've said, you're trying to use the motion of our movement to advance your own establishment conservative career. And if that's what you want to do, make that known to us. Be transparent. Say, I want to be in the belly of the beast. And you know what? Fine. I won't even pester you anymore. But it's the fact that they LARP and they come in this outfit of with my little pin and my hat and I'm America first. Yeah. And then you push them and they're like, "Whoa, man, like that's not cool, man. Like I can't support that, man. Like, hey, peace and love, man." And it's like, "No, we're not doing that." And to roll into our next topic of e-girls because this is kind of related to what I'm talking about and it's all always related as we know around here. But it's really easy to make enemies on the left. This is kind of why I'm talking about these people and what I'm noticing. It's easy to make enemies on the left, guys. All you have to do is say a Turning Point USA talking point, and the libtards will freak out. Whether it's about gender, guns, they will lose their minds. They always do. And it's so easy to make enemies on the left. Like, that's not really special. But when you actually have the courage to stand up against your own people and what's going on in your own party and community, I feel like that actually takes some grit because if you can't keep your own people in line and you can't keep your own movement under control, you are going to lose your motion. And this is something I respect Thomas Massey for a lot, his decisions to not vote on certain things because he's standing up to it. And look, Trump's attacking him. Classic. But all this being said, think I think some people don't realize how easy it would have been for me to buy a MAGA hat, put it on, talk about how Israel is great and they're our ally, or just never talk about it, just stay silent on Israel, wear my MAGA hat, and keep talking about the woke left. I'm sure that if I had done that, if I had chosen that path, I could have been some MAGA GOP influencer girl who goes on a trip to Israel and is hanging out in the Hamptons and doing all that. And I'd probably get boosted all the way to the high heavens on social media. And I would be endorsed. I would be affiliated. I would be going and doing this stuff with Turning Point, and I could have done that. That's
But you
something
wouldn't have been on my podcast.
I wouldn't be on your podcast and I would not be in the position of having a genuine community that I have built organically around things that I believe to be true based
Mhm.
on my values, based on my experiences, historical context. I would be trapped by an ideology that I would be lying for based on things that I know. But really, I mean, all it would have taken was a MAGA hat, some Iran war talking points, probably could have gone on a trip to Israel, took pictures, had my cute influencer girly moment, and then just talk forever and ever about, did you know men can't be women? Yeah, there's only two genders. I'm tired of the woke. The woke left is losing it. That would have been so easy because there are so many influencers, females, doing this right now, and I believe it to be super disingenuous, and yeah, I know some believe it, some are genuinely neocons, but I think a lot of them are probably aware that they're not fully at liberty to speak about things they want to. So,
Yeah, I think
e-girls, man.
I think it's a great time to probably try and attempt. This is just my attempt. Am I the guy that has the right to do this? I don't know. Probably not. But I would like to just try and attempt to kind of define what the America First movement is about and a few key points about it.
Yeah.
To me, the America First movement is about being pro America First, right? Obviously, in the name, being anti Israel and other nations, being able to influence our government. Okay. That extends into being pro white because no matter what if you're white, you're part of the white diaspora in America. You're gonna want to. You think America is your nation, therefore you will benefit your nation. Whereas other groups of other racial groups, rather they might like America, they might like be pro-white too, but they're always, no matter what, they're always gonna have like a special place in their heart for Mexico or for Somalia or for Israel, right? And we've seen this play out even though they could be pro America to an extent, they're always, no matter if they're on the left or the right, going to be pro where their whole entire family is from, right?
Yes, yes. Had an experience with this recently with somebody who they were Indian American and they were Christian, and I had made a post about the Diwali festival in my chat on Instagram, my Fauci friends chat. I sent a link to a Mark Dice video, and I was met with some frustrations from this guy, and I basically told him I don't feel the need for our politicians to be like putting up these fake virtue signaling things. The entire like political establishment, Republican, Democrat, they were posting about Diwali. I told him that's not their thing. That's not America. That's not what Americans do. That's from the other side of the world. Why
Mhm.
are we celebrating it? And he was like, well, it's just nice for representation. I basically argued, well, this is America. Again, we don't need that. And also, like, the poop thing, the cow poop thing. And that's what triggered him and set him off. That's only one small village. They don't all do that. Do you think because I'm Indian, I have cow poop festivals with my parents at home? Blah, 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 blah. He got upset, and I basically said, I said this and I stand firm on this. Are you really coming to America and telling a white Christian European what to do with their country? Because his argument was you're uninformed and you need to feel this certain way about Diwali. I'll feel about Diwali however I feel. And you're not going to come here from halfway across the world and bitch at me about that. That's not happening. No, we're shutting that down right now. Like, you're not going to tell a Wang half what to do.
Yeah.
And he just was like, and then I'm sorry. He like started apologizing. He sent screenshots of my messages to one of my other buddies who I'm close to. I know in real life. Shout out if you're watching. And he was like, this is unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. And my buddy agreed with me and defended me. So he blocked both of us. We just stopped responding
Wait,
to
was
him.
your buddy white?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. He's a fellow wing half. And we were both just like, enough. Like, stop. Both got blocked because we want to put America first and we don't care about your holiday from the third world with
Yeah.
a cow poop festival and whatever the hell was going on in the White House with
Mhm.
Trump and that ceremony. No,
And
get
that's
it
not
out.
to say, and that's not to say we can't be friends with black, brown, or any other group of people. If those black or brown people say no, America is a white European nation, then they can be America first too. It
Yeah, if
doesn't
they
mean that
wanna
they're
do that at home, I don't have any problems with
yeah,
it. Never have, never will. It's the fact that politicians are now essentially pandering to this new Indian vote because so
yeah.
many of them are here now, and they're like, "Oh, we have to look good for them." And it's like, how about you look good for people who look like me and you? and are Christian and whose families have been here for generations. How about you do that? But
I'm not gonna
no.
I will never pander to any racial group ever because of that reason. And no, just because you were born here does not make you a citizen. Maybe right now it does because of illegal things, but in my mind, it doesn't. In a lot of the America First movement, it does not. So,
Yeah, that's definitely a topic I know you said you wanted to get to later with
yeah.
relation to Nick's stuff, but
So to go further to just kind of real quick before we move on, because I was kind of defining America first, just real quick. So first, we already
yes.
established it's kind of like about the pro-America, anti-Israel, no foreign nations coming in and running our nation. I mean that should be a given. America first, right? And then you have the racial question, which is like we're pro-white, 100%. Now we're not like just English or just German or just Italian. So it already is diversity within that group of like European descended people. And then also on top of that, you have a third wing of the movement, which is the Christian values. And a lot of people are going to be mad about this when I say this, but in my opinion, what America First is to me is a Christian nationalist movement. And some of the people that are like, there's a lot of white people that are they're real pro white. They're so pro European and white that they're like pagans, right? Well,
Yeah.
I'm
I've seen that.
sorry. I'm sorry, but my family, we've been Christian since the ninth century, even before the ninth century. I mean, we've been for thousands of years, Europeans have been Christian. We took the Christian religion and it's propped us up to where we are today. We are morally good. The most widest thing you can do is to be a good, nice person and be a Christian. I mean, that's the most widest thing. So I do believe that, America First is a Christian movement. And it's not just a racial movement. It's also a Christian movement. So that's kind of the three things I think America First is. I don't know. Maybe you could, if you have any opinion on that, Fauci is like, yeah. So race,
Yeah.
America First, foreign policy wise, and then religion, Christianity.
Pretty much agree there. I mean, for a sanitized version of saying it, instead of saying race, it's demographics largely because that's what's determining outcomes of elections. I mean,
Mhm.
today it's November 4th. We're filming this. There's the election in New York for a Muslim mayor, and we saw the graphs. I'm not sure if you did. They did go kind of make their rounds, but it was like 60 something percent of foreign born New Yorkers are favoring Zoran. And then you look, okay, well, if 64%, 60% of the foreign born prefer him, what percentage of New York is foreign born? And it's over a quarter. It's over a quarter of people living in New York City were not born in the United States. They're not Americans. And some of it went up to like 30 something percent too, which is scary. I mean, either way, one quarter, one third, it's a nightmare. And that's when I think about the racial stuff. I more want to think about it in terms of demographics because demographics of areas, percentages, majority, influence of majority of peoples making up an area is going to affect how that area functions or does not. And obviously, like, race is the core component of that. But I think we should also be remembering the demographic issue. So, mainly, demographics, stop sending money to Israel, stop sending money to Ukraine. We need to address this parasitic relationship with Israel. It's completely unacceptable. And for you to sit there and pander to it in any way, trying to make it more palatable, whatever you're doing, I don't want to hear it because we're not here to make them feel good about, oh, well, actually, I just meant that I don't really like the state of Israel. And it's like currently right now. And it's like, what about the history? What about its previous leaders? What about its previous actions? What about its involvement in our problems in the past? Like dragging us into their problems. It's not just right here, right now. It's not just Bibi Netanyahu. It's a lot deeper than that and has a lot further reach than they present it. So obviously, and same with Ukraine, any of these foreign entanglements, I'm over it. So demographics, enough of the foreign entanglement. And like you said, primarily a Christian movement, a Christian value system upholding, being the backbone for a lot of these beliefs. And this can all be compatible. And it
That's not to
is.
say, yeah, I think that you're honest. I'm It's like it's not to say that an Indian guy or Hispanic guy or a black guy can't be America First. No, they can, but
Yes.
they have to see that like we're a pro white movement though. Like if you're not a
Yeah,
pro white
we're
movement, you're not
pro-white,
pro culture.
pro-European.
Yeah,
pro-Christian. Like, if they aren't on any wee wuzzery, they'll be fine.
yeah. If
Because
you're
why would they care? If they have a respect for history, if they can look at the history of Western civilization and say, "Man, white people really popped with that one. Like, they really did something there." I'm like, "Thank you, because we collectively, as an identity group, did." And that's largely because of Christianity, because of the Bible. And that's it all ties together. And
yeah,
our allegiance, therefore, should be to our own people in our country who need our help, who need our support. Just one more quick add on to this, but the libs are acting like we don't want our own people to be fed and housed. The problem is none of the people we're feeding or housing look anything like me. In fact, they actively hate me and want me gone
they
because they
literally
think
wanna
I'm a
kill you. Yeah,
devil.
yeah. They wanna rape and kill you literally.
Literally. So I really don't like want my money going to them. But if, someone who looks something like us, someone who speaks clear English, someone who works a job, somebody who cares about Christianity, who cares about Jesus, if they're a family person,
Americans. You could
help
just
them
call them
out.
Americans, you know?
Yeah, Americans.
They say they're Americans, but we all know in the American First Movement, we know they're not Americans. Those are not Americans, even though they have the title of they're not Americans.
No,
You kind of
they
go.
don't
This is kind
uphold
of
the
a
values.
yeah.
So,
This is kind of a fact about what you just said right here is that the money that's going to be given is yeah we don't. You're right. We don't want to give these money to these people because they're, in our opinion, they're not Americans. They're someone else. Okay, they're foreign invaders. But
yes,
another aspect of this, if you could just look at it, population in America is the only group of people that are paying into the system. We are a net positive for the nation. If you don't believe me, you think, no, 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 no Indians, no, 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 no Asians, no, 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 Mexicans are hardworking. Look into this. Whites are the only population that are a net positive in America. So when we say, well, we don't want social welfare, yeah, we don't. That's exactly right. You're exactly right. We don't want our welfare going to other people that is not a part of our own tribe. That's what a nation is. A nation is a group of people that is within your tribe. We have had
that's that
politicians and
simple.
billionaires that have convinced us, that have convinced our grandparents to go, it's a good moral thing to let everyone in your invade your nation. No, it's not. It makes you an idiot, and it's very unchristian of you to do that.
Yes, yes, and we have, I know you aren't a Catholic, but we do have a buddy who did dive into the Catholic interpretation and perspective on immigration and the need to assimilate and to be grateful for the host nation. Literally saying you need to take on the local traditions. You need to be part of it. You need to assimilate and you need to be grateful for a country that's willing to take you in. So that's biblical. That's
Right.
what
And
they're
it's like,
telling
look,
you to do, and they
right. It's like,
don't
look,
do it.
yeah, my grandparents, they were a part of like the group of people that were like, we're not going to let these Irish just come over here and take over our nation. These Catholic, Irish, disgusting swine. We were going to let it happen. But look what happened. Over time, the Irish came here, they worked their butts off, and now Catholicism is like the leading religion in America. It's really American to be Catholic now. And it's Irish is like, oh, they're considered white. Italians considered white. All these people are considered American and white, and we've embraced them, and now America is something of new. That's something that can still occur, but not the way these people are acting. Never the way these people are acting. They hate us. The Irish didn't hate us. You know, they're just disgusting. They hate us. And if they want out of this nation, that's something I would like to do.
What is
Yeah.
this?
All right, I'm going to stop the recording and then just edit this back in. Hello, everyone. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We got it figured out. So we were just kind of talking about some of the frustrations we have with the, kind of the people that are trying that, you know, that pretty much hate our nation but are within our nation. I mean, everyone's sick of that. It's just crazy. I think if any of us, if the America First movement ever does take over, we should all pay into a fund that pretty much buys plane tickets and passports for anybody, no matter their race, who just don't like America. We go to their door, we knock on their door, and we say, "Do you like America?" We don't ask them twice, only once. Do you like America? And if they say no, or if they say well, or if they say anything besides yes, we immediately put them in a headlock, knock them out, put them in the back of a van and ship their butts out of here. Mexico, China, South America, anywhere else besides here. That needs to be the biggest movement that happens because we quite frankly have literally half of the nation that hates our nation and wants to destroy it. It's
Yes.
disgusting.
It's not
Okay,
sustainable.
so we're kind of getting on track. We're getting off track. We're going into different areas of the movement, of course, like we typically do. But so we just talked about the neocons in America First Clothing. Now we talked a little bit about e-girls. We're kind of going to go into a little bit more about e-girls because I think it kind of goes into when we defined America First. One of those points was Christianity. Part of Christianity is to be a modest woman, is to be submissive to her husband, is to be a someone who wants to have kids and start a family and actually benefit our society. The way you benefit our tribe as a woman is to have kids and to promote a feminine, you know, way of life that the media and that the Jewish coalition running Hollywood has made it seem like being a stay-at-home mom is not as good as being a boss woman. And being a boss woman, when no guy likes a boss woman, at least not a guy that's worth a day. No guy likes that. Now, we like women that are smart, that are like, obviously that are capable, of course, but we don't care about a woman being competitive or anything like that. That is not what we're looking for. There's a superpower that women have when it comes to being a feminine mother, a feminine person and a mother that no one else has. Admire that and they look up to that, especially the good men. Maybe not so much the weak men that are also being brainwashed, but a lot of the good men. That's what we look up to. And we're looking for a hero all the time. We're looking for that woman who's displaying that femininity that comes into a room and the boss woman's going like this and everyone's looking at her going, oh, you're weird, man. You're just weird. You got short hair, just like an idiot. And then you got like a girl that'll come in and she's like feminine and she's making cheeky jokes and she's playing the she's being a character in that feministic way, and all the guys gravitate to her and go, wow, that's what a woman is like. We need those women. Where are those women? They need to stand up and wake up and start getting into the fold because that's what we're looking for. That's what we need in America. We need a good feminine leader of the women coalition. So, what do you think about that, Fauci?
Do you think we need more genuine women who are willing to use their voice and I guess their likeness to speak for and advance the America First movement? Because as discussed earlier, there's some girls I'm aware of who, they don't want to go too far. They just kind of want to be like a conservative Republican, I guess, e-girl without the OF link. And that isn't genuine. That feels performative. And I also think I've seen some women who are taking this idea that you present and basically satirizing it, making it so extreme and over the top that it feels like they're playing a character of a trad wife to essentially appeal to a certain demographic, young men who are lonely, who seek women like you're describing. They see this girl putting her voice up a little bit like this and then talking about making sourdough and I'm a woman, I should never go to school. It's like, girl, your
I'm a bimbo.
ideas,
I'm a bimbo dumb blonde. I can't go to school. I don't have rights. I
that's
should,
what it's giving, and it's not a good vibe. And I hate to use the words giving and vibe, but really, I don't know how else to summarize it because the thing is, although the ideas that these type of girls promote, technically true, technically correct. I would like to be at home with my children. I look forward to the day I become a mother and can influence the next generation. I'm so excited that I'm going to have that opportunity in life as a woman. It's so cool. Like, I'm going to have children. Whoa. We should all be excited about this. We should all strive to be modest and not use your body for views and engagement. Like I see this girl and others using, oh, my cute sundress with my boobs out. I'm so trad. I'm so godly. Are you? Because what is going on? That's not a good example. Because it would be one thing to come on, talk about how you want a husband, you want kids, you want to contribute to society in that way. You wish to live a feminine life, a domestic life. You can do all of that without putting on the sundress, whipping your boobs out, and talking in a high pitch anime voice. We
right.
know you can do that. I'm doing it right now, which means anyone can. So I think there's going to need to be more women who don't just play into the trad fantasy and don't kind of go down the LARPing route. We need women to speak And I know, trust me, I know you probably don't want to listen to a woman speak. But women in this current state, especially ones who aren't quite where we need them to be, they're not as receptive as listening to men because they're not super into the biblical womanhood thing. So they might listen to another woman tell them about why I think this is the right way for things to be in a nation. But if you said it, they won't listen to you. And I think it takes a bit of, kind of putting aside pride to listen to men around you. And I'm thankful that I have a great father. He's taught me a lot of things about the world. I have a fantastic boyfriend as well. And the male influences in my life are positive, and I trust them, and I'm willing to listen to them and do what they think is right. Because
Mhm.
I feel like that's how it used to go, and now we have all these women. You've had credit cards for a few decades, and you account for like 70% of the debt. You're completely like emotionally deregulated. You're 45, like alone with your cat and a vibrator. Like that isn't good. Like that's not good. We need you no. And I feel bad for some of those women because I recognize it's a bit late for them. And I really just hope to see more women in Gen Z who want to use their voice to speak the truth and continue to live and embody the things that they say and not just LARP it, not just use it as a girl boss career advancement to get you on stage at a turning point event. You
Mhm.
need to be genuine, you need to be real, and you just have to do it. You have to speak. You can't LARP,
Learn
you
what
know.
it is to be a real woman, for
Mhm.
real. Don't be a fake woman because that's not right.
No, 'cause
And a
that's
lot
like
of guys see it. There is a lot of, it is kind of, I always kind of go back to like, within your own group, like my group, obviously I'm a guy. There's guys that are just, they're simps. They're weak. They see the boobs and they go, just idiots. Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, I will mention one name just because I have to. I feel like because she really annoys me. I think she annoys everybody, so I'll mention her name. It's Emily Saves America. She does a podcast with a gay black guy. She's a total. I just don't like anything. I really just don't like anything about her. Just her style. She may say one or two good things, but they're very basic takes that I just don't. I'm just like, dude, we talked about that 5 years ago, bro. You're just coming to that. She's like the Walmart of politics, I feel like. But another
She
thing
was
about her
she
too.
went to the Hamptons on
Yeah.
that trip. She went to the Hamptons, she's been to Israel, she made fun of Sarah Stock's wedding ring and called her fiance broke, even though
Yeah.
she's like 40 something full of filler, Botox, and openly talks about going to the club to do drugs and have sex with dudes.
Yeah,
And
she's a
you're
rat.
like, I'm mega, I'm conserving what?
And
Clearly
yet
not.
our grandparents will see her and go, "Oh, she's awesome," because she has a MAGA hat on. That's how dumb they are.
Yes,
So
exactly what I was
annoying.
saying before.
Yeah. It's so frustrating. But okay, so she went on, yeah, she goes does a does a podcast with this gay black guy, and they go on and they talk about how, oh my God, you really want to be a stay-at-home mom and cook bread? Like that's unrealistic and blah blah blah. It's like, hold on, hold on. You're not criticizing the fake trad wives. You're criticizing young women who actually want to be trad wives. Like you're the lowest of the low. So there's many dimensions of this. I just can't stand her. I don't think nobody can stand her. It's just
No,
really
I
sick.
don't think any no, actually, it's mostly like normie cons. Like you said, they see the MAGA hat, they see woman with boobie out, and they see vague opinion I agree with as Republican Donald Trump voter, and then they go crazy. But like,
Look
I
at the
just
gay black guy voting for Trump.
Huh, so base. He's the proof he's not racist or homophobic. Like, shut up. Dude, someone in my comments, I forget what video it was on. They said, looks like we have the next Emily Saves America here and tagged her. And I was literally like, I replied, I said, do not ever compare me to her again, please.
That's the
That
word.
is not
Oh,
who
they got you with that one. They know what they're doing.
I think he did. Just the profile. I don't even,
Oh,
he looked like a
you think he meant it to be a compliment?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, 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 miss me with that,
Kill yourself.
please. He's like, God, you're gonna have to put me on the mental watch after that. Like,
Oh, oh my gosh.
oh, it like skeeved
We
me
could
out. I was
literally,
like,
we could go on all day long about all these different things, especially within our movement. But let's move on. Okay, so we did the e-girls, right? It's
yep,
a problem. We're Christian. They're not. Stop making them popular for the love of God.
Stop engaging. That's the only way. Don't like, don't send to yourself.
Stop
Don't
being a
none.
simp. Stop being a simp. Like, stop. Do you want your wife doing that? Okay, why would you make that behavior righteous? Why? The reason OnlyFans, people are doing OnlyFans, the reason why young women, 18-year-old girls are getting out of high school and instead of going to college or doing anything with their lives, are going to OnlyFans is because of weak men like you who like that crap. Stop
Supply
doing
and
it.
demand. That's all it is.
Yeah. So we covered the e-girls. We need to weed them out of our movement. They're not America first, no matter how many times they do Nick Fuentes stuff or anything like that. They're not America first. So I guess let's move on to the stuck up people with 100K followers.
This I feel like is this is more of your sort of anecdote that inspired this topic. I mean,
Oh,
I
you're
would
one of the
love to
stuck
have
up
you
people,
start off.
huh?
Let's have you start off on this one.
It's like actually I'm one of the stuck up people.
Yeah, I have 30K now,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah, you're in that group. I'm not. No, I get annoyed with like people that, like I said, they get 100,000 views on Instagram because they like said something bad about Israel and they just like listen to Nick Fuentes' podcast or his show, and then the next day they like talked about it, and then I have 100,000 followers, and it's like they believe that they are Nick Fuentes reincarnated and that they are famous now, and that everyone else within the movement, small channels like mine or Fauci's, it's like we need to like pay them in order for them to give us the shot. It's like, yo, you did this for like a
yeah,
year longer than us. Like, why are you acting like as if you're famous? It's frustrating. And they like really take themselves serious, which I understand. Like, you take yourself serious, of course, but comes to a point where like, hey, look, make money selling shirts, make money, getting people to buy a coffee for you on your thing, or like, there's many ways to make money on the thing, but it's not to have other influencers pay you money to do that. It's just, I'm against that. I don't like that. If you don't want to collab, just say I don't want to collab. You know?
yeah, it's
Or
that simple. And like you said, there's other ways to monetize the stuff that you do online. And I just think that asking other accounts, especially accounts that are smaller than you, but seemingly really aligned, asking them for money for you to post like a clip highlight or something is weird. And I'm glad that in our circle, in one of our chats, we have someone who's willing to pay people to post his clips because he actually understands the value he's providing, the message, the movement. He gets the vision. So he's willing to invest in other creators for them to push his content. And I think that's awesome because, like, yeah, we're all taking time out of our day. Like, some of us are putting more time and energy into things than others. But if you're going to monetize, don't try to swindle a smaller account for a video clip promo. Like, oh yeah, let me react to your video. And the reaction is probably just them staring like this, like they always do. They let it play
unrealistic, yeah.
for a minute
Yeah,
and then they're like,
yeah, like, are you
wow,
doing this for the movement and for your nation and to like wake everybody up and to be like, hey, the demographics of the white population is going incredibly bad. We need to stop. We need to hit the brakes as hard as we can right now. Is that what you're doing? Or are you just trying to make money on this movement right now, this political movement? Because if you're a part of that group that's just trying to make money, now I understand you trying to make money if you're in the movement. I mean, you're doing what we're doing. Of course, that's what we're doing. But if you're doing that for to make money and you're just kind of being a fake, like not a wang half, then like
yeah.
dismiss me. I don't care. Like just get away from me. I don't want to. Like stay away from me because I'm probably gonna call you out. Because I'm probably gonna see your stuff and go, he's fake.
We're kind of just over anyone that's not a wang half. Like, what else are we doing? There, what's the point of doing anything else? If you're grifting, if you're LARPing, if you're staying sanitized for the establishment, just miss me with all of that. We're so over it. What did Rowley say? Don't call me. Don't come by my house. We're done. Like, we're over it. We're past it. Don't care. Not for us. I don't like, I've seen some of a bit of a pretentiousness from some larger followers, and it's for me, what I see is it sort of comes in this attitude of talking down on other creators who might be smaller, who might have a different niche than them. And they're like, they'll make unsolicited advice videos, like talking about what other people need to do. And the irony is, we're doing that right now to some extent. But
Mhm.
our reasons are more valid because we're addressing specific issues that can be remedied. But a lot of them just speak in this general term of like, you need to broaden your niche and like, I don't know, you need to be more appealing. And I noticed now that I say it out loud, their argument is usually, "You need to be more appealing to a wider audience, and you need to sanitize yourself." And no, that's not Wing Half. That's not America First. We're not putting up with this anymore. Like,
Yeah,
go away. Go enjoy your K likes and few 100,000 views. Like, really, we'll be fine. We're gaining traction. We have a movement. We have a community around here,
yep,
and we're gonna be just fine in
yep.
this camp.
Yeah, and that kind of brings us into the next topic, which is kind of the very pro-white people or the very like kind of like racial. They're like they worship race and like they're all about race, 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 race. And then
Yes.
there's like, and then the other people are kind of like, well, they care about race. We're pro-white, but we also it's not like everything. Like we also want to talk about other things too occasionally, you know. And I think what's going on right now is that you kind of just touched on it right there. Is like we're not down with people who are just fake in any direction. It's not just that like if they're fake in another whatever direction, it's in any direction. And we're almost overly sensitive to it. Like unless you are weighing half all the way, even if you're fake for 1 second, we immediately smell it and we're like, call him out
Re
for that. He's not being real. Yeah. And so it's like,
Yeah.
I think one of the things, and we all know what's going to happen. I'll just mention my name and just talk about it. Nick Fuentes recently posted something where he kind of alluded to birthright citizenship. And if you look at the clip, he talked about how, he doesn't care if you're black or you're Mexican or anybody. If you're American, then you can help me get the Israeli lobby out of here, right? Which what he was talking about, and if you look at the entirety of the clip and around what he said, he wasn't talking about him being for birthright citizenship. He is not for birthright citizenship. And he actually did a rebuttal to the comment that he made and all these people saying that, hey, I'm not for birthright citizenship. I'm pro-white. I constantly, every single show, I'm pro-white. I talk about it all the time. So I think we're overly sensitive. But Nick Fuentes also shouldn't say, these people are dead to me. Now, the people that are attacking him with a big following because they just don't like him or they're jealous of him, I understand him saying that. But like historian or Zoomer historian and stuff, maybe he shouldn't have attacked him just because this is why we're sensitive to that for a good reason. Every single influencer that's gone mainstream has abandoned the racial question. Every single one. And then we've been betrayed by like people like Trump. I mean, on a major scale. So we have like PTSD when it comes to people betraying us. So we're really paying
Yeah.
attention to you, Nick Fuentes. So hopefully he's understanding with that too.
And like you had said earlier, it's like he's live for so many hours every single night, like almost every night. So imagine how many thousands of hours of footage of him speaking there is. If you don't think that there can be moments where he doesn't phrase something correctly or maybe has a contradiction from 4 years ago on America First episode this, I found the clip. And it's like, yeah, we all change over time. We change how we phrase things. Talking points change, perspectives change, how rhetoric changes over time. And, I wasn't super concerned with it. I didn't actually really see much about this, but hearing it from you, I did see like one or two posts.
I immediately when I saw it, I'm like, screw Nick Fuentes. You never can trust a Mexican. I knew it. And then I kind of saw some other things. People would send me some other like his reaction to it, and I said, okay, all right, fine. I probably
Yeah,
shouldn't have reacted like that. I didn't post anything. I just reacted like that with a few people, like in our group chat and stuff. But
yeah,
I think it's important that we have that reaction though too. Let me be very clear. I'm not just like cowering and being like, okay, I'm sorry. No, I'm not doing that. I still stand behind what I said. Like it's good that we're reacting like that because it doesn't matter who you are. Nick Fuentes should know this too. It doesn't matter who you are, how many followers you have. If you're Trump himself, the president of the United States, it does not matter. If you abandon us, the real people who have, like me, have lost our jobs, ended our careers and everything else, lost clients and money and everything else, you think your approval of us is going to stop us from criticizing you? You're entirely wrong. So I
no.
think it's good that we are like that. We think for ourselves. We criticize our own side, and we don't want to be betrayed.
Yeah, and I think that's very reasonable because I will admit that I fell for it in 2024. I voted Trump. I believed in it so much, and it's because in 2016, first of all, I was still a minor. I couldn't vote in the 2016 election. 2020 came around. This is something I'll have to do my own video on sometime, but I was a full-blown libtard. I was converted to be a libtard in my Massachusetts public high school by my Trump deranged teachers. All of my peers basically mocked me, made fun of me. So I had a teacher tell me Trump would rape me if he got the chance. I was very much converted into being a libtard. So when 2020 rolled around, when I was an adult and I could vote, it was during the pandemic, I voted for Biden and I thought I was saving America, saving democracy. And so then it was around 2022, the end of it, when I started really waking up to things. And 2023, certain day in October, perhaps the seventh one, woke me up to the neocon establishment. And, as time went on, I kept believing the lie that Trump Trump isn't the neocon establishment. It's going to be like when he came down that escalator. It's going to be so hecking epic. Donald Trump is going to own the libs. Like, we just need to do this, guys. We need to. And in the back of my mind, some of my mutuals, I mean, they knew. And I was like, "Come on, guys. Just be quiet. Let's just vote for him. Yay." And I won't sit here and act like I don't love seeing the deportations, like, especially the videos of it. I know it's a bit excessive and could come back to bite us, but I love it. Please round them up and send them home. I'm over it. Done. Again, over it, done. Get them out. But, I really didn't think it was going to be the way it was 2024. And that's what was kind of my final push into where I am now with the content I make, the perspective I have. You need to keep your own people in line. You cannot become a Trump deranged, not Trump deranged, but I guess like pro Trump cult.
Like a
Because
cult.
you can't do that. And you can't do that with any elected official. It's their job to serve us. They
Yeah.
should be serving us, our interests as Americans who want to put America first. End of story. We're not fighting about that. We're not doing that. And, I think criticizing our own side is something that I think needs to happen. And I'm glad we got to do a little America First auditing today because
Yeah. I think
it's
it's
necessary.
important to maybe not do all the time, but I think that's why we're gonna maybe do this show like every so often, just kind of when things need to be kind of checked. So just to kind of recap on what we checked our own movement on really quick. We talked
Mhm.
about neocons that wear America First shirts that are pretty much using our movement to gain steam within the younger crowds on Instagram. They've got a lot of followers on Facebook with all the older geezers that follow them, but they've got no followers on Instagram. So now they put on America First hat in order to get more followers on Instagram. And then you've got the e-girls, of course, right? Girls that wear a trad dress, but then like their trad dress is like showing their boobs. You can't even. You're like trying. You're like going like this, like, oh, it's like it's insane. That's not trad. There's nothing trad about that. It's not modest. That's not Christian. We kind
No.
of define the America First movement being pro-white, being America First, and also being what was the other one? Oh, Christian, right? And then we talked about the stuck-up people that are in the America First movement that like they just got 100,000, they just broke 100,000 followers, and now they're trying to charge people within our group. They won't even message us back. I mean, they just think that they are, and we're not talking about like woman propaganda or like Hermes. These people. Okay, they've got hundreds of thousands of followers. I'm not talking about them.
No.
They're not going to be able to message us. They don't even see our messages. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people with 100,000 and like maybe 200,000, like that range. Like, come
I would
on.
say, yeah, I would say like I'd even go I'd say like 70 to like 200. But once you're over the 200,000, I just assume your stuff is blowing up all the time, and if I really wanted to try to contact you, I would look for an email at that point. But when it's like someone with 60, 70, 100,000, realistically, we're not super far apart. We have audiences, we make content, and like I would like to collab with some of them, but a lot of them are not open to collabs, and also a lot of them kind of look down on smaller creators when it's like, dude, you let it go to your head. Like, stop letting it go to your head. Be humble, have humility, work for the movement that you're supposed to be representing. Don't make this all about you. I know it's tempting, but don't. This is
Yeah,
about something bigger than you. It's not you. This isn't the you show. It's the America First movement that you need to help push because that's why we're all here.
exactly
So,
right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So we talked about the stuck up people, and then we moved on to the last thing. which was there's a little bit of a thing going on with Nick Fuentes and how he brought up birthright citizenship, and he kind of it was a small clip taken out of context. I was talking about him kind of saying if you're black or brown, doesn't matter, you're American. Totally got taken out of context. He was talking about fighting the Israel lobby, not about being American. And then he corrected himself on another later video, corrected himself, but then also said all the people that kind of attacked me, screw you, which a lot of the people that attacked him, if you notice, they all kind of are like, they have big followings and they're just attacking him because they're jealous of him. Not because, like, from my perspective, it's like I'm nowhere near, we're all fans, so we're not
Oh,
attacking
yeah.
him because we're jealous. We're attacking him because we're just like, wait, what? You said that? But I think it was a healthy attack. Like I said, we've been mistreated, we've been abandoned and betrayed so many times. So I think it's healthy that we audit our own side, and this was a perfect example of that. I hope that everyone is up to date and up to speed on that situation, and it's over, and we can move on. So that's pretty much all we covered today. Is there anything else you want to end with?
Uh, I do not think so. I think we pretty much nailed it all.
All right, awesome.
Got it done.
So this is the Paint the Town Red podcast. We hope you guys have a wonderful week. Today is Tuesday. Make sure you guys follow Only Fauci on Instagram. She's blowing up. So
Only Fauci too, because I got my first account zucked. But only Fauci on Twitter, and all of my links are on my Instagram. So check it out, guys.
all right, guys, have a good
Have a good one.